My Favorite Brain Part by Ryan Grace. My favorite brain part is the amygdala. The amygdala is located in the medial temporal lobe. It is part of the limbic system, which is involved in our behavioral and emotional responses. The two major structures within the limbic system are the hippocampus and the amygdala. For this video, we're going to be focusing on the amygdala, which is in front of the hippocampus. There are actually two amygdalae, one in each of our brain hemispheres. So the function of the amygdala. The amygdala controls our automatic responses. It is mostly associated with fear, but it also deals with arousal and emotional stimulation. The amygdala is essential for decoding emotions. There are two ways to reach the amygdala, short and long paths. The short path is from the thalamus, and this is what prepares us for danger before we even know what it is. An example is if you're in the woods and you see trees rustling, you get scared. You might think it's a bear. The amygdala is preparing you for something that you are not even sure what it is. The other path, the long path, is from the prefrontal cortex, and this is the final phase of fear where our brain reacts and chooses what action to do. Using the previous example, if it was a bear, you would run. Looking at the two amygdalae in the left and right hemispheres in our brains, they have some differences. Studies found that in response to electrical stimulations of the right amygdalae provoked negative emotions, which could include fear and sadness, while electrical stimulations of the left amygdalae provoked either positive, which in this case would be happiness, or those negative emotions again. The two amygdalae are known to have separate memory systems, but work together to store, encode, and interpret emotions. So men versus women. Men have larger amygdalas than women. In 2001, researchers performed a study where they used PET scans on men and women while they were watching either highly aversive or neutral videos. The levels of amygdala activity at encoding was used to predict later emotional memory performances. The results showed that the relation for females was found in the left amygdala, while for males, the relation was found in the right amygdala. Now, something that I found interesting that was one of my first questions when I decided to do the presentation on the amygdala was whether this had any type of contribution to serial killers. When looking more into this, I found that there's been research on this. There was research on 40 serial killers and murderers. The major finding was that the brain of a serial killer and murderer is different than that of an ordinary person. While looking specifically at the amygdala, it was found that serial killers and murderers have a shrunken amygdala compared to the ordinary person. This could be an explanation for their lack of empathy, remorse, and guilt. An example to encapsulate what the amygdala does is shown well in this wasp example. When you get stung by a wasp for the first time, it invokes a strong emotional reaction. That reaction is stored in your long-term memory as a wasp being something that can harm you. That fear will come up again even if it is just a housefly that goes by. This is because before you know it's a housefly, all you know is that it can fly, which a wasp can do too, and it makes a noise similar to a wasp. Your initial reaction would be that you think it's a wasp, and the amygdala would invoke fear and anxiety in you because you remember being stung by that wasp before. This was my presentation on the amygdala, and I hope you enjoyed it.